The Maono PD400X is an awesome all-in-one budget professional microphone that can compete with the upper echelon of those higher price point microphones, such as your Shure lineup like the Shure SM7B. If you don't want or need or ever desire to spend over $300 to $400 on a microphone, then this is, I think, one of your top options, best options in the $130 to $150 bracket. With all the microphones I reviewed on my channel, the PD400X remains king, but it is also probably one of the more expensive microphones. And with that came a bunch of features and awesome options and superior sound quality for the PD400X. And that's why you kind of see it right now in this video, because, well, currently it's my daily driver, and it will be probably for some time for the unforeseeable future. What? 99 with the PD400X? What? So today we're going to look at all of the things that should make this one of your top choices when it comes to professional budget dynamic microphones for your content creation, be it gaming, streaming, or podcasting, or YouTube content creation such as this. Let's get into it. Let's first start off with the hardware features of the PD400X. Let's dive directly into the circuits. What? On a hardware level, this thing is awesome with some hefty weight, full metal matte body to the core, very heavy microphone. So make sure that your boom arm supports the weight of this, the weight right here of this microphone. So look at the weight, look how much it weighs, 3/8 and 5/8 inch tread. So not to worry if you have that question in the comments. Supports both, has an adapter that comes in the box with it. You have a knob on the front of this that does 3 functions. It functions both your gain and your monitoring, and a combination of your gain and monitoring called the monitor mix, where you can either isolate your audio from your game recording, your game streaming, or vice versa, mute your mic audio and just listen to your game audio. So, or you put it down the middle and you can support both mic and PC listening at the same time. So monitor mix is a very good and fashionable thing for most gamers and streamers to utilize now. So this is what makes it an awesome gaming microphone. Another thing that makes this a great microphone is that there are built-in EQ features right on the back of this device. There is a button where you can essentially cycle through 5 different modes of EQ. That's just on the hardware side, right? Not to mention that this does a fantastic job with plosives and sibilants. I've done a full review on what that sounds like. You can check those links in the description or in the end screens or somewhere in my channel. Just look for it. And it sounds fantastic with a wind muff like it has on now, or with it off. So with regards to the microphone hardware features, you're going to get a full set of nice professional level hardware features built into this, including XLR ports, USB-C, live monitoring with an audio jack on the back of this, the whole shebang. Even the look of it is pretty sleek and nice. Right now this wind muff is pretty large, but without it, it's a pretty nice visual for your content viewers. The mute on this is a touch sensitive mute. It's very sensitive, so if you just touch it, it will mute. I know where the mute button sits. It's like right below the cushion right there, and I don't even have to look to press it because it's front and center right on the edge. And just like that, I can mute it without even looking. I like the placement of the mute button. If I flipped it over, it would be right on top, which is also even probably a better place, honestly. USB mode. This is the audio quality in USB with no processing done, not even via the Maono Link app. And we'll get into the app features, another professional feature of this microphone, in a second. On the back of this microphone, you will see that there is a flat mode, there is a high pass filter mode, and then there is a presence boost mode. And then there is an all-in-one mode, which is all 3 lights lit up in the back, which tends to be my favorite because I feel like it's just all-encompassing. And I like it. I like the sound quality in USB. This also is the best USB sounding microphone that I've reviewed on this channel, the AM8. any of those microphones, mostly because a lot of them don't include features like that where you can control EQ either on the hardware or even in software. So Maono has the advantage of having a software compatible feature where you can really fine tune the USB audio from your PC and almost bring it to like the sound quality of an XLR. USB, wow, pay attention. I'm about to show you everything that is possible in USB with this microphone. I have just made the switch to flat mode via USB on this microphone. So this is the quality and it sounds good in my ears. This is the out of box experience. Clicking that again, we will go into high pass filter, and the high pass filter subdues some of the low ends, right? It brings a little bit of that bass down as well. So if you feel like this microphone has a little too much bass for your taste, see how I rhymed? In your face, what? Tapping that button again is presence boost. And as you can hear right now, that has really lifted up and amplified that mid-range. A presence boost essentially is lifting up the mid-range in your EQ. So if you have a flat EQ, that means you're going to be boosting up that mid-range to bring out the voice audio quality or the voice in general. Pressing that again, you'll get presence boost plus high pass filter. And now you'll get that mid-range of your voice boosted up and kind of subdue some of those low ends to reduce the bass if there's too much bass. And then the last, which is also my favorite, is all three lights lit up. Did I light it up? And that's flat, presence boost plus high pass. It's a weird signature audio that's not really mentioned in the actual user guide, but this is my favorite because it kind of accentuates the bass and midtones in my voice and keeps those high ends, those crispy high ends, fantastic. So just manipulating those EQ settings on the back with that hardware button, you can get a pretty good audio and dialed in without really having to mess with EQ on a computer. Let's move into the software features so we can even further enhance what this microphone can do. Let's make the switch. Here we are with the Maono Link software. Running the application, we should see the Maono Link application open up and detect my PD400X right off the rip. So this is the case with the PD400X, the PD200X, the DM30, and there is a list of compatible microphones. So just be sure to check the Maono site before you start asking me questions because I get it a lot all the time. The Maono Link software doesn't detect my microphone. What's wrong? Nothing is wrong. It's just not built with your microphone in mind, right? So just be sure to check that list. When you get your Maono PD400X, what you're gonna probably wanna do when you plug it in and you get the Maono Link software is look for firmware updates for your microphone. Check for your firmware updates. You can click on the cogwheel up on the top right corner. You can check for firmware updates and you can factory reset, which I guess you can do that if you're having some kind of hardware issue or firmware issue with your device. So factory reset is a way of troubleshooting, but let's check for firmware because, well, I haven't checked for firmware updates since I got the microphone a few months back. So there may be something. Let's see. Checking for firmware and firmware update. 1.3.3 is available for your device. So I do have a firmware update. I'm going to go ahead and update my firmware, and updating my firmware looks like it's moving pretty fast. Do not unplug your USB cable as you're updating your firmware because, well, you could potentially damage it and you don't want to throw away 130, 150 bucks. So allow that to do. Note to self, when you're doing the firmware upgrade, don't be a fool like me and be monitoring at full blast everywhere, full volume, because you will blast your ears out of your socket. So yeah, I learned my lesson. All right, so we update it, and if we go here to settings, we can see that we have the latest update. You can check for updates here. So let's go back. And ooh, nice crisp image of the PD400X. All right, let's click into that. So let's go ahead and start from the top and work our way to the bottom on the left-hand portion of the Maono Link application because there are two sides to create a nice profile for your device. One is standard, one is more advanced. So let's go ahead and start with some of the standard features. Right off the rip on the top, you see your levels here. They look pretty true to the sound. And I like that when you get up to the high end, it turns orange as opposed to just saying green. So you know when you're getting close to being too loud. All right, so not easy to clip this microphone either in USB. And I have it at max volume and I have it all the way up on my PC settings. So when you're making modifications here on the software, just so that you know off the rip, it's essentially changing the hardware settings on your microphone. So when you close the app, those settings will continue to go forward. So we have the volume at 100%. Obviously on the software, you can drop your volume and raise it up. Let's move on down. We have option to switch between your mic and your PC audio. This is the mix. So you can go left or right. Right now, I can't hear myself because I went straight to PC audio. And then if I go over to the far left, I can hear myself in monitoring over, and probably not my PC, right? So, and down the middle, you will get both. So let's just keep it down the middle. Next level down is your tone. So you have deep, natural, bright, and legacy tone. So this is the natural, somewhat, I guess, out of box sound, aside from the hardware features I have already set, which is my preferred settings on the microphone. So what does it sound like if we go over to deep? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this has made a significant boost in bass levels and overall lower tones. It makes it a very rich, bassy sound, as you could hear right here. My sexy, bassy voice. Stop it right now. Let's go over to bright. And bright will brighten up more of that mid to higher ends to bring up that nice, crispy sound, almost delving into like the XLR audio. So bright is a nice, rich, high, open, airy sound. I like it. And then we have legacy, which I can't tell the difference between legacy and natural. Natural has a little bit more deepness to it. The higher ends are dropped down ever so slightly. Legacy brings the high ends up just a little bit. It's somewhere in between bright and natural, I would say legacy is. Moving down to the bottom, we have options to adjust how the audio will be, how you will use your microphone physically in your setup. Do you like to talk close like this? Is this your preference? I mean, I know now like this is where you get your best audio because, well, it's dynamic and it's designed to get the ultimate full volume, full richness at a closer range. But we can change that property right here in the distance, the proximity settings, right? So as you can see, it gives you the actual distance as well in centimeters. Punch that in Google. I don't know how much that is in inches, but 5 to 10 centimeters away. I guess this is probably right here, looking at the diagram, as close as possible without actually touching your mouth to the microphone like that. If I switch over to mid, this is going to probably bump up that gain ever so slightly, increase your amplification, and clicking that mid range, you'll see that I've gotten louder and I can hear more of the ambient noise. I can hear my PC fans ever so slightly more because it's just picking up more. And now you can sit back 11 to 30 centimeters. I don't know, look it up again. And you get a nice rich audio. The only thing with that is that, well, the noise floor is always relative to your gain levels. If you look at the signal to noise ratio, this is a pretty good microphone. It has a nice signal to noise ratio. So you won't get that external ambient noise until you start raising your gain. And this is kind of what that's doing. It's amplifying it. So you're going to raise your noise floor with your signal pickup. All right. So this is good. I like mid. Mid is my favorite. I use the mid and I apply a little bit of noise suppression just to kill out the very low fan noises that I get, little ambient noises I get in my house. And I can sit back comfortably and talk, and I know that it's going to pick me up at a nice, reasonable gain and not clip my microphone. There are other settings to stop that, but right here, you can stop right here and you can get fantastic audio and not have to do anything else, and your audio sounds awesome in USB. Let's take it a step further and go far. You hear that? The ambient noise has picked up even more, and my volume, my gain has picked up as well. Big pickup here. This is almost like using a condenser microphone in that it has that very large pickup here. which is fantastic. So if I wanted even more space and I was doing an unboxing and I needed to put my microphone out of shot, right? This is the mode you would put it in. Get a little bit of reverb because, well, my room's not treated, but the audio still sounds good. We are now in the advanced mode. So in the advanced, you can do a couple of the same things you can do in standard. What changes here in advanced mode is EQ settings. Now, if you're looking here on the bottom of this, these settings are basically the same settings you have on the back of this microphone. Yep, you have the 4 settings that you can do on the fly with the buttons themselves, which is flat mode. This is what the flat mode sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probably an out-of-box experience in flat mode. And then you have high pass filter, dropping off those low ends, reducing some of that bass, and just kind of focusing on the mid to high ranges. Then you have presence boost, which boosts your presence of the midtones, right? Your vocal presence. Kind of brings up the bass a little bit. And then you have presence boost plus high pass filter. So this brings up the midtones, your vocals, and drops off some of that bass, those low tones. Now there is another setting here that is gonna blow your mind. We go over to custom here. There's a custom button. And clicking into that custom button, you have manual on the fly EQ settings for your microphone. So if you are gaming, streaming, podcasting, and you just wanted to set your EQ here and not have to worry about another third-party software or adjusting it in post or anything like that, you can get your microphone tuned and dialed in right here. So on the standard EQ mode, right, I have it enabled. You can actually turn off the EQ. You have 3 basic bands, which is your very high ends here. So if we lifted those up, you're going to hear that super high end crispiness, but you get the hissing, which is kind of what you don't want, boosting it up that high. So if you wanted to bump this up a little bit, I would probably suggest just a little bit, just to increase the clarity of your voice. For whatever reason, the way I pronounce them are hissy. My S's are strong. And for females, a lot of times that's the case too. There's like a big S in the way they use the words. So I would probably keep this very low, if not to just middle range, more or less, right? And I'll show you why we can just leave this part alone, because in advance there's different settings. And in fact, if you want, you can dip that all the way down and just completely remove all hissing, because Caesar ate a salad with Superman in a sauna and you have no S's in your words. All right, let's reset it. And you have your midtones. Now you can bump that up to kind of bring up the clarity of the midtone. It loses some of that bass, so to speak, because it kind of focuses on your voice, right? And you can bump it all the way up, and this is what it sounds like. And it sounds like a radio station from 1954. I know, because I was there. And then if you lower that down, you can really just subdue the midtone, and just kind of a very bassy, cloudy voice. This is not a good sound. So resetting that to the middle, I think this is kind of ideal here, but you can probably bump it up just a little bit there. And then the last band here on the far end is your bass. Obviously, if you feel your voice is too boomy, go ahead and drop that bass down just a little bit, and you will reduce some of that bass. But it sounds funny because now you only have like somewhere in the midtones. So a little bit cloudiness there. And we're going to jump into advanced. And what is in advanced, you might ask? We have 7 bands. Yes, so we can get a little bit more meticulous with our EQ here. We are in a flat EQ right here in advanced with 7 bands. So obviously this one here is the same in standard. It's just ever so slightly more on the high end range. You see here is 10K. Over here you go over to 16K, and that will bring in those really, really far end high ends. Yes, crispy, but you get some of that. I would keep it somewhere right here just to bring up a little bit of brightness in my voice. This is what this range sounds like. It's pretty high as well. Again, those high ends. If you drop it down, you don't want to kill off some of that. So I think for my purposes, I would bring up this here and then bring down this to reduce some of those S's. So I can bring up the brightness in my voice and kind of kill off that sibilance issue here. And then you start moving more and more towards the middle, and then you eventually go over to bass levels. And just so you can see what it sounds like when I raise up this is somewhere in the mid range, and boost up that boomy drum range, right? It's too deep. And then if you drop it down, you kind of just create this kind of super low high pass filter effect. And we can go on the very boomy, vibration-y bass levels, which is this right here. And this is the thing that rumbles your speaker as you speak, as you can hear there. And if I drop it down, I just literally lost all of my masculinity. What? You don't have to tweak this so much, in my opinion, because the audio coming out of this microphone is pretty good. I would even put that much bass because the microphone itself already has, it's pretty boomy. All right, so this is what it sounds like with a little bit of EQing. Not so bad. You can probably do a better job than I did here. This is just for demonstration purposes only. So, all right, then if you want to keep this profile, you just confirm. That will now remain your EQ settings in the advanced mode. So if you switch over to standard, all that goes away and it goes to the standard EQ settings. So for all intents and purposes, you're probably going to keep it in the advanced range. Then perusing down to the bottom, you have limiter and compressor settings. Yes. So if you're going to be yelling and you don't want to be clipping your microphone so much, then you might want to turn on that limiter and bring it down to about, I think, -8 to 7 dB is pretty good. It'll stop you from blowing up your audio and your microphone. Anything lower than that, you're just kind of just killing your sound quality. So you want to just add in just a little bit, just as much as you need anyway. This is up to you. I don't know how loud you yell in your videos. You can go into advanced limiter settings. Yes, you click these 3 little dots right here and you jump into advanced, and you can adjust the threshold for how much of it you actually need, which is, this is way too much. And then right here is pretty much off. So the threshold is essentially what we're touching on the main advanced menu. So if we go over to the right, we see there are attack and release options. So you can choose how fast you want your limiter to attack and release. I think the default is pretty good. And then we have compression, and we turn that on. It's set to 0 dB, but I like to keep it somewhere around the same range as my limiter. So we're going to drop it down to about, I don't know, 10 dB is pretty good. Now compression is good because it will prevent your high ends from going too high and your low ends from going too low. Very good feature to utilize in your audio. I would suggest messing around with that to see how that works. My software was out of date, so I was able to run a software package update. I haven't updated it in quite a while. I've been using the old version, so I'm interested to see what new features we got here. Oh, so the latest version is 2.3.7, so I was a couple of versions behind. All right, let you know that I haven't been on top of my game. Sorry about that, Techies and Gamers. I'm slacking. Hold on. This is awesome. So this is why you need to like kind of update your stuff. I've updated the software to the latest version and the firmware to the latest version. And looking here, the software has gotten an update. This is where there is a change. Limiter, compressor, and now noise gate built into the Maono Link software. Wow. Isn't this amazing, Techies and Gamers? We've made a nice little upgrade here on the fly. And this is my first time looking at this with you with noise gate. Essentially what noise gate is, for those that don't know, who are new to this software or new to audio, noise gate is a thing that reduces the noise in your room, in your setting, when you're not speaking. Now, as I'm speaking, you can hear a little bit of that noise, right? A little bit of the air in my room, a little bit of the PC fans. But if I stop talking, so you have to be careful here with your threshold, because you want to be careful not to go too high, because then you'll kill off the frequency of your voice. And well, playing a little bit around with the noise gate features is a little tricky. You have to be careful because, you know, if you put too much, you could just be clipping off the front end of your audio as you're coming back in. And if you close the Maono Link app software, it will stay running somewhere in the background, monitoring and applying some of those settings. A lot of those settings are also applied on a hardware-based level. So even if you close the app, those settings that you have applied to your microphone will remain in USB across the board in all of your content creation. This USB audio right here is pretty fantastic. My Lord, do I even need to go over to XLR? Well, maybe if I'm doing some professional voiceovers or singing or music, something to that effect. But otherwise, this is crispy and clean with that little bit of EQ I set in custom advanced mode. It's good. A little bit of limiter, a little bit of compression, a little bit of noise suppression. Wow, I love this sound, and it's a nice deep mid to bass richness there. Now let's make a switch to the XLR mode and see if it's even that much better. It's definitely going to amplify the gain and pick up that noise floor as well. I don't even want to switch. I'm just enjoying listening to my voice. What? Here we are in XLR, and do you hear that loud pickup we have here? That gain and amplification has multiplied, and we are at 100% on our mixer volume gain, 100% on the PC, everywhere is 100%. Wow, I can sit back here and just talk and it will pick me up quite nicely, and whatever other noise I got going on in my room. And this is the audio quality. I do like XLR quality because, well, now you start picking up other frequencies. Yes, you pick up a whole other range of sound using XLR that you don't get via USB, and you can probably hear it right now. And as I'm talking low, you can hear every little nuance and crispiness and slapping of my saliva, and those high ends are pretty high. Hissing has amplified and everything. So we can control the noise floor because, well, we don't need it this loud, right? I'm pretty much in the red, and if I go any louder, I will clip and distort. So dropping down the gain will also drop down that noise floor that you hear right there. Noise has reduced, and my gain is still good because right now I am in the yellow and I sound fantastic. All right, techers and gamers, hope you enjoyed this video, and if I provided some kind of good guidance on whether or not this is the setup for you, smash that like, subscribe, because there's always more to come, because I kind of love doing this stuff. And if you're interested, links are in the description. Affiliate alert, I am a Maono affiliate, so one hand washes the other. I give you a little bit of a discount. I get a few bucks kickback. Those little purchases and little kicks I get from affiliate links help to keep this channel alive. If you're looking to go a little bit more budget on a microphone, and 130, 150 bucks is too hefty for your wallet, then you can check out this dynamic microphone right here. This is also another awesome option. Would it be second place to this? Nah, I can't say that because I haven't put that head to head with a lot of the other microphones, so that's still up in the air, but this is also an awesome USB dynamic option. So, all right, and with that, I'll see you in the next video. Later.